Do you love connecting with your spouse? Does the intimacy between you build with each passing week, month, year? Do you feel like you really enjoy being with one another? Really relate to how one another experiences pleasure? If you answered no to any of these questions, I think you're going to find today's episode especially interesting because what I want to focus on is how to create a great intimacy date. I'm a fan of scheduling dates. I did an earlier podcast episode on the importance of scheduling dates for sex, which I can link to, but I'm going to be taking a different approach today. And I'm really focusing on calling this intimacy date. The one thing that I do want to say from that episode quite a few years ago, actually, is that your calendar reflects your priorities. So if it's important to you to work out, going to the gym or riding your bike or whatever it is, going to a dance class, that's going to be on your calendar. If it is important to you to go to work, that's going to be on your calendar. If it is important to you to take vacations and travel, that's going to be on your calendar. If it's important to you to go to your kids' school performances, that's going to be on your calendar. And the fact is that if what you want is to nurture the intimacy and connection in your marriage, that also has to be on your calendar. There was a time where perhaps you could just be spontaneous, and if you're in the mood, then the two of you start making out and have fun. But it is the rare couple who is going to do things in that manner and really enjoy and have enough time together. I'm saying specifically for educated, successful couples with busy lives, children to take care of, all kinds of responsibilities. Maybe children are out of the house, maybe they're not, but you have parents that you're taking care of. The point is, our lives are busy. Your life is busy. And so intimacy, emotional intimacy, sensual intimacy, erotic intimacy, they will all just fade away unless you put them in your calendar. So the main objection to putting it in the calendar is, what if I'm not in the mood? Am I going to feel pressure? Like, this really is not very romantic. And so for the rest of the episode, I really want to open your eyes to how none of those considerations are actually problems, that there was a way to set this up, which is really beautiful. So the first thing that I want to emphasize is that this is an intimacy date that I'm talking about. It's not specifically a sex date. It could become a sex date, but I think you really make a mistake if you schedule an intimacy date. It means you're definitely going to have sex, because what if you don't feel like it? What if one of you doesn't want to? If there is a pressure to have sex, it takes the edge off and it won't be as fun. And if it's an intimacy date, a time to just really enjoy being with one another, chances are that you're both gonna be in the mood as a natural result of having fun together. So with an intimacy date, one of the most important things is that you have fun together. The other thing I'll say is that in terms of things being spontaneous in a way that doesn't happen when it's scheduled, well, you can schedule the time together and then have what happens during that time be quite spontaneous. And I also want to share some tips that I actually learned from a couple that's been married for 41 years, and they started having intimacy dates, I think, about 30 years into their marriage, and it made all the difference. And they had some really great tips for this. So one thing is, don't schedule your intimacy date at the end of the day when she's about to fall asleep or he's about to fall asleep, whichever one of you who tends to go to bed and need to get up early in the morning, or you're concerned about the kids waking you at night, whatever it is, be thoughtful about when you schedule it. Because I definitely know many women, particularly physicians with children, who are up for having sex, but not when they're about to fall asleep. Pick your timing. This really should not feel like an additional thing on your to-do list. Yes, it's in your calendar, but it should be something that you look forward to, that's really exciting, nourishing, not just another obligation. If you're both worn out, in fact, when my husband and I go to a hotel for the night, very often the first thing we do is just take a nap so that we both are revived and refreshed to really enjoy the rest of the evening with one another. If you're in a relationship where maybe the woman is worn out, has tons of obligations and responsibilities, she needs to relax. If you're a husband who wants to have more intimacy, then your job is to set things up so that things are more relaxed for both of you and then more pleasurable. So one of the tips that I got from this couple is that after she got home from work, she would take a bath and have like 2 hours to herself, taking a bath, reading, doing whatever she wanted to do. And during that time, he fed the kids and got them into bed. In fact, they talked about another couple actually that they knew that the father took the kids to grandma's for dinner, brought them home and put them to bed. But the point is that with this time that she can be by herself, relax, reconnect with herself, her body, her mind, her emotions. She can journal, take a walk, do whatever it is that's going to have her feeling lovely, reconnected with herself with some spaciousness. And meanwhile, dad is tending to the children, putting them to bed, and then joins her. And if you set things up in this way, chances are she's going to be available and interested and energized and ready to spend time with one another. In fact, as I'm sharing this, I'm reminded of a client that I coached. Out of the coaching, he really likes to have sex and would be annoyed that she wasn't available. And once I understood her situation and clarified with him that really the best foreplay would be if he did the dishes and cleaned up the kitchen so that after she put the children to bed, they were younger children, she would come down and everything would be immaculate. And sometimes he even cleaned up the kitchen and put the kids to bed. Well, suddenly he was having more sex than he had been having for a while because she wasn't against it. She just wasn't worn out at the end of the evening anymore. This is really important, what I'm saying now, because if you set up your date nights to be that she is go, 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 go every day, throughout the day, all kinds of things to take care of. And then, okay, honey, let's get changed, go out or get into bed, whatever it is you're going to do. That does not give her what she needs in the way of relaxation and a transition time. So I'm saying just some time to herself. Maybe she wants to just dance, take a nap. It's entirely up to the woman what she wants to do. But if you give her an hour or two to just be with herself before the intimacy date, that is a winning move in most relationships. Okay, so now we're at the point of the date where he joins her and children are attended to. Maybe there's a babysitter. I've described it one way. Dad steps up, but it's also fine to hire a babysitter or schedule the nanny to stay later, whatever it is. You can each have some time to yourselves to just recalibrate, and out of being connected with yourself, then be ready to really connect with one another. And then when it's time for the intimacy date, that does not mean you just start having sex. It means you do things that are fun. So what does fun look like? Well, maybe it means, I don't know, playing a card game, and whenever one person loses, they need to take a piece of clothing off. Or perhaps when one person loses, the other one says something that they need to do, kiss up and down the other person's spine. It's going to really depend on what your repertoire is, what is really fun. Maybe you get a card deck with sex prompts and, you pull one and one of you does it. Maybe you just have a peaceful conversation, not about kids and not about finances and not about work. Maybe you do finger painting on one another. There, you can get like a big plastic, like a shower curtain, and lay it on the bed and paint one another. Maybe you just put on some music and dance together. It's whatever would be fun for you that builds intimacy. So if it's conversation, great. If it's taking taking a nap, great. If it's massage, great. If it's playing various board games, like it's really a question of what would delight you and what would stoke the intimacy between the two of you. And yes, as you have fun and you laugh and maybe you introduce a new sex toy and have fun playing with it, before you even have sex, like there are so many options. But the point is that you laugh together, you enjoy one another, you show up in ways that you don't show up when you're parenting or managing a household or reconnecting at the end of a long day that is full of work and stress and other obligations. You choose what's really going to have you feel good and have you feel closer to one another. Maybe you lie together and read love poetry. Enjoy feeding one another. There's so many options, but in order to decide what you're going to do, you need to really be clear on what would be fun. So maybe your first intimacy date, if you've never done this before, is that you spend the time just discussing with one another what would be fun. Do you want to watch a comedy together? I mean, ideally, you're not watching or using screens, but if that's where you start, no problem. Do you enjoy board games? Do you enjoy maybe one of you will model and the other one will do a nude pencil drawing? There are just so many options, all of which result in you having attention on one another, joy, fun, a kind of leisureliness. You should not feel on the clock at all. One of the best things about intimacy and sensuality is the timelessness of it. So if you're watching a clock, it means you're not having as much fun as you could be. If you find that, yes, you enjoy one another so much that you transition into having sex, great. But I really want to caution you that it's not assumed. Neither of you feels entitled to that, but it is setting everything up so that it is more likely to be appealing. So I hope that this really inspires you and that you take what I'm saying and craft intimacy dates that suit the two of you and culture of your marriage and the phase of life that you're in and what would be fun, what would be delightful, what would bring a smile to your face as you anticipate it, and what will bring a smile to your face as you think about it the next few days afterwards.